Welcome to the Sweet Spot Podcast, a podcast that seeks to help you find your sweet spot when it comes to a variety of issues like relationships, finance, work, stress, fitness, and many other topics. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff Persichidi, along with Shah Punjani and CJ Jones. Now, on to the show. All right, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Sweet Spot Podcast. We've got a special guest with us today, LaRandall Scoggins. Goes by LA. He's COO of Stunt Team Productions. Welcome to the show, sir.
Sir, thank you.
All right. So bringing you on today to talk a little bit about kind of expanding on what we talked about in episode 2, I believe, side hustles and kind of how everybody's changing up their COVID's kind of messed everything up, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're just talking a little bit about one of my favorite pastimes, pre-workout. I'm on pre-workout no matter if I'm working out or not. So
that's so, I can't do that.
Dude, I'm on pre-workout all the time. You ever mix pre-workout with whiskey?
No.
Nah.
Yep.
Nah.
Guilty.
Have you ever mixed pre-workout with everything? Anything? No?
Man.
Seriously?
You know, I mixed pre-workout with some Adderall, man. It was a good time. So.
It just sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen, man.
What were you doing?
Man, finals week, undergrad, you know, I had to get it in. Had a workout at noon. And it also helps, too. My strength and conditioning, he's like a high-energy guy, you know, like big, swole white dude, you know, let's get it, you know, kind of. Yeah. And so, you know, I was already down studying the night before, so I was just like, man, I need a little extra. So I'm on Adderall. It's still hitting me.
Oh, okay.
And then I hit the pre-workout, and so I'm just like jacked, you know. Most focused lift of my life. Like,
really?
Attention to detail every rep, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know that was crazy.
Hey, experience. You know what I thought about the whole time, though? Like, kind of after the fact, I was like, dang, like, imagine, like, if I would have had sex like that, it would have been life-changing. Straight up. Real talk. But, yeah, that's another story for another day.
I feel like I
wonder
faint.
if a lot of, like, pro athletes might do that.
You think?
Man, I don't know. If it gets you
probably,
that good.
They probably smoke weed.
Well, yeah, they definitely
For
do
sure.
that, for sure. Like,
They
that's
probably-
already a given. But I'm pretty sure they take extra stuff
Oh, yeah.
to work
Extra
out.
stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, really, I think the only thing that shows up on their tests is it's not steroids.
Yeah.
Steroids.
Performance enhancement. Yeah.
Marijuana doesn't show
Well,
up?
this year the NBA is not going to test for it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but they were
They probably
man, they were doing it. Yeah.
J.R. Smith was getting.
come on,
lit
man. They all
before
smoke.
Yeah.
LeBron
yeah.
smoked.
Their trainers probably encourage it.
You know what's funny? When
know?
I was in high school, there was this one kid who was smoking like way before everybody.
Right.
And he was like, CJ, I'm telling you, like, before your game, like, you need to smoke.
All right.
I was like, no. Anyway, never did it, but he was right. Like, everybody now in the pros, like, that's what they
You know what's
do.
crazy? Believe it or not, like the night before games, like me and my homie, we used to get drunk.
High school?
Nah, college.
Oh,
like
okay. I'm talking about.
it was like a little
college?
margarita special. I'm talking about we would get like out of our mind drunk. And the next game, we always have our best games ever.
That sounds so counterproductive.
Well, James Harden.
No, I'm serious. Like literally, I had like my game high like the next day. Like crazy.
What science supports that?
I don't know.
Like, you're probably
Peer
dehydrated.
experience.
Hungover.
That's how different each person's body is.
Yeah.
Apparently,
That's crazy.
because if I did that, I would not. I would not
But
have the
see,
same
I
outcome.
had no hangover though. That's the thing, because I was drinking the same thing, you know. So it was just like it just made my body feel different.
Plus, it's liquor.
Well, James
feel like
Harden apparently does that. Well, they just came out with it
Strip club and all?
yesterday. Yeah, he was flying to Vegas in between games, dropping triple doubles like
Facts.
with ease.
At that
too.
point, you're just hooping, though. Like, that's the thing. You just
It's life.
hooping at that point.
Dude, LA brought some.
Still though, bro. Come on, bro.
LA brought some cool whiskey, peanut butter whiskey. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Shout out to the company that sold it to me at Costco today. They did a great job.
It smells like peanut butter and everything. It's good. It's a little sweet. It's
Yeah.
good.
It's good stuff.
Sorry, y'all. I just stuck my nose up.
No, this is. I mean, this is probably the only whiskey I could drink straight. Y'all know I don't really mess with whiskey, so
Oh, yeah.
I think it's got some sort of sugar or something.
every time me and LA
contains
went to the club,
peanuts.
we got peanuts.
If you got a peanut allergy, it's
you
got
definitely
peanuts. You don't have a peanut allergy, do you?
I only got one allergy.
What is that?
Apparently, it's my sweat. Apparently, it's my sweat.
You're
But
allergic to yourself.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good shit right there.
Yeah, honestly, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
I'd recommend it to everybody.
For
What's it
sure.
called? Screwball?
Screwball. Peanut butter whiskey. All right. What are we talking about today, y'all?
I'd like to kind of ask. I know again, every guest I've came in.
Sean.
I know them personally, but I'd like LaRandall to
It goes
kind
back
of.
to middle school, I'm sure.
Actually, we didn't go to the same high school like the former guest. How did we connect?
Me, you?
Rosemead, huh?
It's mutual
Man,
friends.
yeah, bro. It's like we was hooping back in the day. Like,
Yeah,
man,
the real always
yeah.
end up getting connected in some way. So.
That's the truth. It was just like, hey,
You dick.
Rosemead Rec, man. That's like where we grew up. You know what I'm saying? That was, hey, that's it. You was made or destroyed right there, straight up. You was either built or broke down.
Yeah, Rosemead Rec was. I learned how to be tough at Rosemead
Yeah,
Rec.
man.
I was the only Indian kid there at one point.
Hey, that's real facts. Real facts.
So, like, tell us about your background. Like, how'd you grew up in Carrollton, or like, where were you originally from?
So I was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Moved to Dallas real young, like first, second grade. So I've pretty much been here my whole life. So I'm, Dallas raised.
Okay.
Carrollton, Dallas, all the same thing. Yeah, so I went to school, Hebron High School. Did 4 years there. Obviously, my junior, senior year, we had like a stud basketball team. You know what I'm saying? We went to, actually, we were like number 4 in the nation my junior year, 3 in the nation, something like that. Then like the same thing the following year. So it was a good experience there. You know what I'm saying? We had produced crazy amounts of athletes, believe it or not.
So now so you played basketball, football, or
Just straight basketball. Yeah,
basketball was your
man.
number one thing.
Yeah, I was a too pretty boy for football, man. I didn't mess with getting hit. Not like that. But yeah, so that was really it was growing up in Carrollton, man, it was definitely different. Just being like a African American too, you definitely kind of have to find your way, believe it or not, like just a black kid growing up in the suburbs. It's weird. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people don't realize that, but that shit is actually like very weird, because it's a cultural thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, people might, when you go on the south side of town, or like when I was playing AAU with cats that went from, Lincoln High School, Cedar Hill and all that, it's like, man, you talk like a white kid, all that kind of stuff. So it's different. But, it helped me definitely grow into like the man I am today, because, I can definitely relate to a lot of different backgrounds. So, I'm real thankful for that, especially like, working in a business that I work in now. I deal with, like, believe it or not, like a lot of hood artists, trap rappers, stuff like that. So it's like, it's a different perspective, and it's cool that they can respect me, coming from a different background, because they're like, hey, at the end of the day, we trying to accomplish one goal. Like, we see, what you're about, so it's an interesting perspective, to say the least, but it's cool,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to kind of talk about today is, your COVID screwed up a lot of people's situation, right? And you may or may not be back at the same job you had at the beginning of 2020. You might be at a different job. You might be trying to get your side hustle turned into your main gig, right?
Yeah.
And so just give us a little bit of your credentials, if you will, as to why we'd talk to you about how to get this thing started if we're trying to get a new business going.
For sure. So, like you said before, I am the COO of Stunt Team Productions. We are a lifestyle and artist management company. My business partner and I were actually we were both in school when the idea even came, to fruition. Obviously you go to school, you want to get your degree, and get a good job. If it's a corporate route, whatever you take. So, spent time doing the corporate thing, really kind of seeing the ins and outs. Did it, 2018 up to almost, present day. But COVID came, and even a little bit before COVID, I had dove into the entrepreneur lane. But COVID definitely, made me become resourceful and push it full time. This is, our really first full year in effect of being like a LLC business and everything like that. COVID was just kind of interesting, you know? I mean, believe it or not, our business kind of thrived on, you know, people doing shows, artists moving about, being able to show face, and really kind of, you know, create an image that they had. So with COVID, you know, we really had to kind of restructure our whole business plan, honestly, and like what we were doing, kind of taking everything strictly digital, how we talked about earlier, you know, with the Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff. But just as far as kind of really creating images and a brand for artists, just all virtually, like online. So I'm sure y'all seen like the lives and all that kind of stuff that they had, like the concerts at the beginning of like, you know, quarantine and stuff like that. Had to get resourceful, like, you know, things like that, you know, how the fans could perceive artists and see them, how the fans could get their music, you know, with album releases, just trying to make it as intimate as possible, you know, without physically being in the same room. So that was really challenging at first, especially like, you know, the second and third quarter, it was pretty interesting, but it paid off. We made probably the most money that, you know, I've ever made personally in my life. So that was like, you know, a fun, cool experience. But as far as, you know, just getting it started, you definitely have like a plan, you know, together and ready to go. Cause like, I feel like that's always the hardest thing is just starting, you know what I'm saying? So the plan was big.
Yeah. So you started this thing, you said 2018?
Yeah. So we were actually, my business partner was at Northwestern. I was at McMurray in Abilene, Texas. And his teammate, he played college football there. While I was playing basketball, and his teammate is a singer. He's actually our main artist now. And, you know, it's kind of hard, obviously, like juggling all that, you know, D1 football and then trying to make music on the side. That's a lot. So they were, you know, dibbling and dabbling with that, but they had some successes, you know, like quality placements. You know, people were just taking the music real well, like hearing it real well, you know. And so that was kind of, he was doing his thing there. I had a good friend of mine here, and he was doing music, and I mean, I'm sure y'all are familiar with like the era of SoundCloud. So SoundCloud was like real big for like a lot of artists to get heard. It was just fast, you know. Everybody was trying to be a SoundCloud, you know, artist, rapper, whatever it was. So
it's free too.
Yeah, it's free. He was doing numbers, like my friend Trey Lino. He was doing like numbers on SoundCloud. I mean, he was doing hundreds of thousands, 200,000 streams on one song. And the song was only out for, you know, a week, 2 weeks.
Nice.
Like, he was doing crazy numbers. So he was doing this for a little while. And I was just like, man, like, why are you not, like, doing shows? You know, I was, like, curious, like, why aren't you doing more?
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, man, you know, it's just me, you know what I'm saying? So I reached out, you know, went out on a limb, and I was like, you know, hey, man, I'm hooping and everything. I'm trying to finish up undergrad and all that. But, you know, I was like, let me just work on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? Let me just kind of regulate some things for you. So I did that for a little bit. And I ended up booking him for, like, a big show, right? And so he was on a tour with Trippie Redd. And so that was, like, the first performance I ever booked. And he opened up for him. And it's kind of crazy, believe it or not, how it even happened. So
was that the show that was at Trees? Or
it was at House of Blues.
House of Blues.
Yeah,
Okay.
So pretty much, like, I really finessed the whole situation. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, hey, I'm gonna say this now because, like, I've already done it, you know? It was wild. So Trippie Redd's management team, it was like 1,400 management at the time, right? And so somebody had created a burner account for them. And it was like a fake account, but it had the look, you know, it had everything, like the pictures, the emails, all on Twitter. Like, it had every tangible thing that you could think of, it had it, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I was like being like this, you know, trying to be an overachieving, like, manager, wet, you know, fresh to the game, trying to still wet behind my ears, all that, right? So I was like reaching out to him, like DM every day, like, hey, I'm trying to get my artist on the show, you know, like just being annoying. And so they finally hit me back, and they was like, okay, you know, hey, well, it's like 1,000, you know what I'm saying, to perform. I was like, bet, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had stipend checks at the time, you know, I had a little money for a college student. I was like, we'll go half on it, like, I'll make it happen, right? Because I was just so anxious to, you know, get him out there. So anyways, all this happened. We had all this great quote-unquote communication and everything. And so it gets to, like, the week of the show, right? And I haven't heard anything. Like, no communication, no, like, set time, nothing. So I'm just like...
You've already sent the money?
No, hell no.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sending the money until, like, we got there, you know what I'm saying? No, sir. So I was like, I was like, man,
I
you know,
thought that's where this was going.
yeah.
nah,
I was like,
hell no, no,
nice.
no, no. Don't look. I'll tell you anything. Look, if anybody asks for money on the internet, do not be a sucker. Look, he say, send me what you need to send me first, and I'll say, like, don't be that person. But
Oh man, that brings me. Okay.
anyways, so we had this constant communication for, you know, like all this time. Like I said, it gets like a week of the show. I don't hear anything. So, you know, I'm getting kind of nervous because, like, I didn't gas this shit up. Like, I'm telling Lena, I'm like, hey, man, like, you finna rock this show. Like, all this, like, you know, it's a sold-out show. Like, I'm hyped. And it's crazy because, like, you're not even supposed to be on tours. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, like, unheard of to, like, be an opener, like a local opener on a tour because they bring their own people.
Right.
Like, this is not normal. So, me not knowing, I was just like, I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm still hyped up. So I reached out to the set manager or the stage manager of House of Blues, right? And I was like, hey, you know, I haven't heard anything from Trippie Redd's team about, you know, my artist opening all this. And he's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. He's like, I'll contact you, you know, a few days prior to the show, and I'll make sure, you know, you're there for the sound check and all this, right? I'm like, bet, you know what I'm saying? So I'm all happy, like, you know, a little at ease. So the day of the show comes, and then we do the sound check, and we pull up. And Trippie Redd's like whole management, like he's managed by QC, like quality control. They have this company called Solid
damn.
Foundation, right? So all these like big ass black dudes, I'm talking about like Debo size looking cats, like all this. They like, who the hell are you? And I was like, what you mean? Like, who am I? I was like, you see his name, you know what I'm saying, on the set list and shit. Like, y'all know I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. They was like, hell no. They was like, who authorized this shit? They was like, nobody knows you, like, just going off. You know what I'm saying? It's just me by myself. Like, Lena on the stage,
you hold
like,
it
doing
down,
sound check. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared, low-key. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going to happen. So they like, who the hell are you and all this? And so, man, it was just, that was scary alone. So, you know, I had to explain the situation, right? I was like, man, I've been talking to this account. I was like, they done promised me all this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they was like, this shit is fake. Like, they was like, it's not a real account. Like, this is a tour. Like, a label set this up and all that. You know, like, I was really looking stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I was like, look, man, I was just like pleading with them. I was like, y'all gotta let him perform, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I only got $250 in my pocket. No, I'm lying like shit. Like, I got like, you know, $500 ready to go. I was like, this all I got, you know what I'm saying? I'll give it to y'all, but y'all gotta let him perform. Y'all gotta let him perform. And they was like, nah, man, nah. I was like, look, man, I said, y'all let him perform? I said, he gonna rock this shit? And I said, I tell you what, he gonna go on the rest of the tour, like, with y'all. And they was like, you know what? They said, give me the $250. So we end up giving him like $275 because like Leno's brother had some extra change and all this. So I kid y'all not. This dude rocked the show like crazy. I'm talking about like the crowd energy. Like he had the lights shutting down.
So
like,
they just inserted him into the set.
yeah, they
that
literally
is badass.
made time. They gave
is
him like a
awesome.
whole 20-minute set. You know what I'm saying, to rock the show.
And did they want to hear anything ahead of time?
Nah,
Or they just let
I
him
didn't
go
even
on?
let him. I was like, I just told them straight up. I was like, he finna kill this shit. I was like, I don't care what y'all saying. Like,
They just let him go on.
they
just
did. They took
blind.
that
They
bread,
just-
and he did it.
awesome.
And he ended up being on the rest of the tour. He did San Antonio, Houston, and then Austin with Trippie Redd on a label like tour. It was actually pretty wild. Like that was probably some of the wildest shit I've done. But like I ain't gonna lie, like QC and all their people, you know, their representatives, they had like mad respect to me. Like I still talk to some of them cats to this day, you know. So
Nice.
like anytime I need like some little, you know, insight or some shit, and it was cool. So
That is
That
awesome.
was-
So,
it was
so
experience.
you didn't even really in 2018. This wasn't the goal. You didn't have like this plan
Not
to
at
do all
all.
this. Like you just
Nah.
it just happened, right? You just put yourself
super organic.
you put yourself in the right place, at the right time.
Threw yourself in the
did.
jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I literally like fed myself to the line. Cause come on, man, like I was a biomedical science major. Like I had like this was not my route. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
had no intention of doing this at all. And then you know things just end up kind of moving and it happened. You know, so it's like none of this was forced. I tell anybody, I was like, hey man, this guy's playing for real. Cause like this was organic, 100%. You know,
That's cool.
it was crazy.
You know, I think a lot of people that will tell you they've been successful in their own business, it kind of starts like that. It just starts from doing something you want to do, and this is like, hey, it's almost like a wish. You know, it'd be cool if we could actually make money doing this. And I think because sometimes that's the way you approach it, you do get kind of a different result than when you really almost try harder. It's like almost like you're doing whatever feels good, what feels natural, and whatever comes next, you're cool with. So, so for those people out there that don't quite know what they're going to do, like I know what I want to do,
Right.
But I'm not quite sure where to start. We kind of came up with top 5.
Right.
Everybody loves lists, right?
They do.
Lists and stats. Shaw's in charge of stats.
Oh, man.
I make up my own stats.
He makes his own stats. He's always 90% of something. If Shaw's throwing a stat out, it's 90% of something, and then he made it up.
You know it's probably accurate, though.
Facts. Low key.
It's probably
It got some
probably
truth behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. 90% of Shaw's facts are fake. So,
But accurate. So technically, they're not fake.
yeah. So number one, you said a business plan. So
Yes.
you said this is super important. Is this something where like, okay, cool. Yeah, my plan is to do this. Like I'm a photographer. My business plan, I'm gonna be a photographer. I'm gonna make money. Is that good enough?
Nah. You gotta have like, a plan with some meat behind it. As that's like my pops. He always be saying, you need to get some meat behind it, Okay. So definitely have like a plan with some depth behind it, Plan out, whether that's week by week, day by day, just have some type of plan that you can follow, because it's easy, like definitely when starting a business, you might have like a good idea, so you might get off track with the path of like your initial plan, right? So that plan is just something tangible that you can always kind of bring yourself back to and like just have like a real guideline, because like even I do it a lot of times. Like sometimes I just like be quick, like, damn, that's a good idea. Let me do that. But it's not necessarily a part of our business plan. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to have a structured plan to follow with definitely like good information too. Don't have like BS on there. Like, goals are fine, but you have to be realistic with yourself. And at the end of the day, you're the only person that's going to be like real with yourself, So make sure within that plan, you have like set things and targeted things you want to hit, So that's definitely big to me. But yeah, that's,
So, you said be specific. I mean, like I said, I've got my own thing. I know Shaw's in quite a few things. CJ doing his own thing. Yeah. So I would tell you, I'm not sure I actually started out, like my photography business started 17 years ago, and I'm not sure I actually sat down and wrote everything out. I don't know that I was that savvy. But I also didn't have the resources 17 years ago that I think, right. I don't even know if there was such thing as a podcast I could listen to back then. But how's that really going to help me? I mean, if I know what I want to do and I know, like I want to.
It's just, for me, I'm a sole believer in that. Like like most of my captions, like I wrote it down and I followed through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think it's just a psychological thing. Like when you write things down, that's why most people recommend journaling. It's just I don't know the psychology behind it, but you're more likely to do it when you write it down. Cause like you said, life happens.
It does.
Life happens, and whether it's positively and you think of a different idea or if it's negatively, this thing that you wrote down will always be there, and it'll always keep you, it's easy to go out of bounds, and this plan will always keep you in bounds. But to kind of go off that for the people that, might not have the guidance to take that first step in writing a plan, you can literally go on Google and Google business plan template.
Yeah.
And it'll literally like have questions laid out for you.
Damn near fill it in.
All you have to do is fill it in. That's
Yeah.
all you have to do. So, I mean, I guess step one is that, put it on paper or write it out on your laptop, whatever it may be, and, get it out there.
Yeah, I think the thing you're going to be surprised at when you do that exercise is that you don't have the answers that you think you
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because when you try and fill that thing out, you're like, oh dang, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the contingency plan. I didn't think about this and that. And even as far as just to your point, LA is like just like weekly schedule. Mm-hmm. Like you treat it like a business. What do you do Mondays? What do you do Tuesdays? Yeah. What do you do every other day of the week? And so just being super structured with it.
Definitely.
And Cool. So we wrote it down. Number 2, we need a budget.
Definitely. A budget is super important. And just back to what you're saying too, make your days count. You know, it's easy to waste days. You know what I'm saying? It's really easy. Like, believe it or not, if you're not having like a strict 9 to 5 and you are like trying to be an entrepreneur, like it's very easy to just find yourself just kind of BSing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, so definitely make the most out of your day. Even if that's just getting up routinely, like being on a schedule, like, hey, I'm going to blast these emails out or I'm going to draft them up at least, do it. And if that's all you do in a day, at least do that. So your day is not wasted. You know, you got something done. So
get 1% better.
Yeah, you do.
Every day.
I tell you, you said 9 to 5. I remember when I was getting my business started, they did have the internet back then. And I remember putting my website together and I would work on that thing like all day. Like hours and hours and hours. There wasn't such thing as 9 to 5. Like I woke up early, I stayed up late, and you know, of course, it's exciting when you first get started.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was like, not the first step, but you'll know whether or not if it's something that you really want to do because it becomes like fun as hell, like the creative aspect of everything. Because I just think about times like when I got started, like I just got the ball rolling just off of. It wasn't anything that I did. It was people just came to me. And then that's what got the ball rolling. But then what made it fun was, it was like, damn, I really wanted to do this. You know what I'm saying? I really like creating the website. I really like creating this, that, and the other, the gear, all this other stuff. So I think it's actually loving, not say what you do, but like loving the idea of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And getting to that level. And then all that stuff just becomes easier. Because then in the middle of all that, like the startup is great. But then once you get to the middle and you hit that wall, okay, now where's your commitment level at?
Right.
Right, because there's going to be a time where where you just hit COVID, shows ain't going right. Okay, well, shit, is this really what I want to do? And you'll know because when you hit adversity, like, oh, fuck it, I'm still committed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's where you see people either stop doing what they wanted to do or they keep pressing on. Yeah. And so, I don't know. When it comes to business, like, once that momentum keeps going, or once you get the ball moving, the momentum going, you got to keep it. Don't stop.
Definitely.
Don't, like you said, make the days count because that's definitely really important.
Yeah, and I think topic 2 was budget. I think I was actually the one that derailed that. But on the budget piece of it, dude, I remember like you think you're going to do, you always have these big grand dreams, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be so easy, and I'm going to, this is going to be my income, and
margins are going to be this high.
Yeah, right.
And margins come out.
I'm going to make this much an hour, and then I'm going to bill this much an hour, realizing that you can only bill that much so many hours a week, but you're actually working so many more hours a week.
Right.
And then, like, how do you budget that? How do you, and a lot of, there's so many expenses too. And if you don't think about that ahead of time and you just go in.
Yeah. I hit that roadblock myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. Especially like, that budget. The reason I say it's so important, no matter what you're gonna do, you always have to incorporate certain things, right? Like you wanna compensate yourself for your time. You know what I'm saying? You wanna make it worth your while. You know what I'm saying? Obviously you're going in business to conduct business to make a profit. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I think the budget is so special because a lot of time, especially, being a new business, you put yourself out there, right? Because, I'm not going to lie to y'all, some of my best work that I've ever done, I did it for free. Like, I didn't charge a dime. You know what I'm saying? And that, looking back on it now, I was like, I was a damn fool for that. But, you just be so eager to be known and put yourself out there, and become successful.
Right.
So that's why I always like to say, like, definitely have a budget made, definitely already have, how much you want to be compensated for things. Like, never just do work for free at the end of the day. A good friend of me and Shaw's, actually, Destin, he just took up photography, right? And I had ran into him, and he's like, man, you have any advice for me? And I was like, man, just get compensated for what you do. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're putting yourself out there, even if it's charging $10, $20, you know what I'm saying? Definitely make people pay you for your time. Because when you look back at it, you're going to have to drive somewhere. You're going to have to do something, and it's going to be coming out of your budget that you're putting time and effort and whatever you're trying to, make happen too. So definitely, do that. Obviously, your budget also incorporates, resources that you might have to, even make your job come alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could be, Man, my girl blowing me up.
You need to take that. Well, that's all right. Put on speaker.
Like
Put on speaker. We're here.
Nah.
He's still thinking about it.
Yeah,
low key.
Man, but
You may take it.
nah, it's all good.
Just give me like what?
Yeah, facts. But definitely, budget, your resources, budget what you're doing, your equipment too. If you need it, like you said, if you were a photographer starting out, obviously you need a camera. Like obviously you need a computer to edit photos, all that. It's easy to just kind of think of things on the fly, and then when you get there, you just hit the roadblocks. You just kind of, oh shit. And then it puts yourself in a bad predicament. You know what I'm saying?
You're so right about that, because you figure if I'm going to be a photographer, what do I need? A camera.
Yeah,
that's all I need, right?
No, sir.
And then you got to get there. So you need there's the expenses for the car that you don't really realize those right away, but there's a reason why you have you can write off a certain expense per mile, because there's wear and tear, tires, oil, gas.
Can I piggyback off that?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I wanted to add on to budgeting is part of that is like exactly what you said, tracking everything your expenses, because once you like actually register this as a business, you can write all that off.
No,
people don't realize that, and so you probably didn't have this back then, but we have the luxury of like QuickBooks. You can go on QuickBooks.com and get it for $3.99, and literally all you have to do, it's like an Excel sheet but for businesses, and you just. It has the formats there. Yeah, like it takes all the guesswork out of it. You pay $3.99 a month. Just put down exactly what you're spending. That way, when the time comes, you can show the accountant or the CPA, and they can do the rest for you. But
if they're not a sponsor yet, we need to work on that so that they got to pay us for that.
Yeah, but like it's as easy as that. And most financial advisors, like you're already doing these with your bank statements and your subscriptions, right? You're budgeting yourself. Now. Do it for the business, put it into QuickBooks, put it on paper, whatever's easiest for you. If you have the budget for $3.99 a month, go on QuickBooks and just, track everything you're spending. Cause
I will definitely say one of the problems that when I first started that I ran into was like not understanding like, okay, although this is my business, my organization, whatever, like I still work for that organization, and so all the money I was getting in was coming to me.
Yeah.
And then so when it's just your personal account, like you spend that money like it's nothing. Then when you need to, venture out, try new things, go spend more money on top of other stuff, you don't have it in your business. Like that was one thing I had to learn is I got to pay myself through my business. So now I pay myself every 2 weeks, just like a normal job, as opposed to, okay, once everybody pays their monthly fees, it all comes to me. And that was one of the things that helped me out budgeting wise was that paying myself every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
And that's a good point too, because knowing the balance, like some people, sometimes you got to go all money in, everything you make, put it back into the business until you get to the level.
You got to put it back into it.
Yeah. Because it probably took you a while to get to the level where, okay, now that
you're
I'm
making
good.
bread, but.
Yeah. Now that I'm good, let me pay myself literally every 2 weeks. But, like you said, it's easy to get all this money coming in and spend it on,
dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so to that point, I think when I started my business, 3 years. It was 3 years till I really felt like till I hit my stride.
Right.
Till I wasn't where I felt like my website was where I wanted it to be. I was starting to get referrals. I was comfortable with the amount I was charging. Because I can tell you right now, I mean, you can do as much research as you want on your business, but when you're doing a service, it's a little soft on like, how much do I pay? Do you undercut somebody? Do you not? And the funny thing is I found out that sometimes, depending on what you're doing, the more you charge, the more you're perceived as being the best, right?
No, for sure.
And so I was actually surprised. I was trying to slow my business down. It was so busy there for a minute. I was trying to slow my business down by raising my rates. And so I could shoot less and make the same money. I just want the same money, just shoot less.
Right.
And I got busier, right? So there's that. And that's part of that budget. You got to at least write it down. You might not be right.
Yeah.
But at least you got something to work off of.
That's funny you say that, because people do associate, like, even like when you buy clothes or products, you're like, if I spend the money on it, it's like a high quality product. I'm getting something that's high quality. And, like with what you said, I'm not sure if you had employees or not, but that definitely plays like a big role. And it's honestly kind of like a shitty feeling because like it's even happened with us before, you know, getting lump sums of money and you're like, hey, like I'm paying this person a significantly less amount of like, you know, what the total profit is, but it's still a lot. You know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things, it's almost kind of like basketball, honestly. I mean, yeah, these people getting $100 million contracts, but that ain't shit to the owner when they making billions, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of the same little feeling. So I get that for sure.
Yeah. So you made your business plan.
Right.
You went through, you put together a budget, let's say. Number 3, support system.
Yeah.
How important is that?
I think that's, man, the support system, I think is a very underrated thing, especially, you know, starting a business, like traveling into the entrepreneur world, because it's highs and lows. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, the lows are valleys. Mm-hmm. Like, it's ugly. You know what I'm saying? The highs, they might be real nice highs, but when you hit lows, it's like, it's valleys, you know? People don't tell y'all that side when you're starting your own business. So I think a support system is big. You know, like I said earlier, I don't care if it's like your dog that's supporting you, you know what I'm saying? Like if you go home and vent to Billy every day and he just, you know.
Billy the dog?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? If he's just like there looking at you, that's enough. But, you know, as long as you're like, hey, look, at the end of the day, at least, you know, little dog Billy in my corner. But definitely, you know, have somebody that's in your corner and also that sees your vision. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy to just tell anybody about like what you want to do, but not everybody can see your vision at the end of the day because it is yours. So, you know, it's nice when somebody does see your vision because honestly, it holds you to a level, or they'll have like some type of accountability for you. You know, it's easy to just think like when we're starting a business, like everything's just sweet. Because I mean, even my girl, she said it before. She's like, how much are they paying you? Nah, they need to pay you more because, you know, you doing this and that, you know, you sacrificing time, you know, this. So it's just like, it's nice that she supports me with what I'm doing because it helps me elevate my game, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point because we kind of alluded to it. When you love what you're doing, you're willing to work for free almost at times, right? You're like, dude, I love that. Just the fact someone's going to pay me to do this is a bonus.
Right.
So you're willing to maybe work for less than what you're worth. And so for someone that's kind of on the outside looking in to go, yo, like really look what you're putting into this thing. And this is all you're getting. You need to make sure you get what you're worth.
Right.
And that's a big deal. Plus, you know, at the beginning, you expect to have highs and lows. Like you're just like, you know, it's just part of it. You're going to be, I really didn't expect to just come out of the gates guns blazing, you know, when I started my business, and it didn't. I mean, it was a slow roll, but then you hit a stride, and then you're like, okay, yeah, it's going really well, and then something happens, and all of a sudden, like business dries up, or it's just something's changed. You don't know what it is, and you start. I can't tell you how much I tweaked my business, changed the web. It's made my website. I'll put this on the front page. I'll put that on the front page. I'll change my pricing. I'll make my opening price less. I'll make it more. I'll add this. I'll make the package bigger. I'll make the package. And sometimes you don't even give it time to flesh out before you know if that even worked, before you start tweaking it again. Right. And you get in this really weird situation where you're just like manic, right? You're just like changing everything all the time. Mm-hmm. And it is nice to have a support system there that's like, dude, trust that you are, like, you got the right product and you got the goods, so just let it work for you.
Right.
And the reality is that every business goes through highs and lows. If you work for a corporation, you know, some quarters are better than other quarters. And these are big established corporations. And the second your business drops off even a little bit, or it's quiet for a couple of days, phone hasn't rang, you haven't got a couple of emails, you start to panic. And it's easy to panic, real easy, when it's just you.
It is.
So
and I think that's one of the most underrated principles that not only, I mean, small businesses, but big corporations, like you said, have to go through, is just having the ability and the skill of improvising and adapting and pivoting. I mean, like you said, on a small scale of changing the website or whatever it may be every day, but on a bigger scale with COVID hit, you have to go fully virtual.
You do.
So again, you're going to hit adversity, but how do you pivot? You've got to be ready.
Think about how resourceful, restaurants became during COVID. Yeah. I mean, granted, we live in Texas, so it's like a free-for-all, but I mean, like restaurants started, serving alcohol to go. And that was a really, honestly, a lot of people don't really give that its due diligence and its credit, but that was a huge, you can Uber Eats a bottle of liquor now. You know what I'm saying?
A Mamba Taxi from
Micosina,
yeah.
I just had that a couple nights ago.
You see what I'm saying? And that really saved restaurants.
Thanks, Christian.
You know what I'm saying? It did. So that was big. I mean, shoot. I don't know if y'all know, but Cheesecake damn near went under during COVID. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't even pay their rent at the malls, and and that's worldwide. So I mean, it's just on the border. Taco Cabana, I salute them because they got plenty of my money during quarantine when it first started. They did a little margaritas to go, and I think that alone, they made you buy some food, so it saved them. A lot of smaller business, like mom and pop little burger joints and all that, they went out of business because they couldn't afford to do anything like that.
So you're saying alcohol delivery saved everyone from COVID?
Pretty much.
There you go. All right.
There was a lot of alcoholics that were made during COVID.
I want to go back to the support system because I do think that's important, but I think it's also important for people to know, although you do have your corner, you still got to fight your own battles. You know what I'm saying? You can't rely on people in your corner to, they're there for support, but at the same time, you may not have that support system, and you don't necessarily need it just because it's not their vision. And sometimes I think we put our dreams and our expectations on ourselves, on other people, and then that just, that messes up the whole relationship at that point.
Yeah.
So if it's something that you want to do, don't be upset if your partner doesn't see it. You know what I'm saying? That's it's not their dream. You know what I'm saying? Just they may have dreams that you don't see for them or whatever the case may be. And so I think that's one of the biggest things. Don't let that discourage you if you don't have that support system. But if you do, then definitely, lean on that.
I definitely think it's
LA
a
was
luxury,
saying. Yeah, for sure. Definitely lean on it if you can.
Jeff, when you were growing up, was it common to start your own business, or was it more so go get a legitimate job or 9 to 5, or when you started your photography business, was this something that people were like what the fuck is he doing? Or because now it's very, I guess it's probably easier and people are a little bit more resourceful, but it's easier to start your own business.
I think it's a trend now too.
Well,
it's a trend.
Yeah, like I said, so when I was a kid, man, I was mowing yards. So that's entrepreneurship right there.
Yeah.
Just getting out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember this. I was knocking on doors. I would go around the neighborhood and I was knocking on doors. I'm talking, we moved a lot, so I can tell you my age when I started mowing yards. I was in 4th and 5th grade. I remember the lawnmower handle was right at my eyeball level. It was hard to push, right? And I'd go knocking on doors, and I didn't even have a lawnmower.
He's gonna handpick the grass.
No, I was legit. I'm gonna
use your mower.
That's
real.
Yeah.
Yo, I like that.
I legitimately. Like that. Yo, that was legitimately in my plan.
Man, that's dope.
Is I'm gonna mow your yard.
You say, yo, but let me use your lawnmower.
I had no equipment.
I don't have a lawnmower.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't have a lawnmower, but you get a discount because I'm using your mower.
Yeah.
And dude, you'd be surprised how many people just give a kid a chance.
Right.
I don't want to mow my own yard, and this kid is, back in the day, $5 was $5, right? So it was the $5 I didn't have. You got $5, I'll mow your yard with your mower.
So entrepreneurship wasn't something you started at a young age, but what about other people that you were around?
I think going back to the other question that you said is when I started my business, was it a common thing to have that entrepreneur? I think entrepreneurship has always been around.
Yeah.
That's how we got to where we are. There's always been people that have stepped out, and that's how some of the world's greatest inventions and products have come around as you have an entrepreneur that's willing to get outside of a corporate organization and take a shot at something that's kind of crazy and different and out there, and it takes off. But, if you're going to talk a little more mainstream, when I started my side hustle there with photography, I didn't tell anybody at work. I didn't tell anybody because we talked about this. You don't want anybody to question your dedication to your main job, because inevitably in your main gig something's going to screw up.
Yeah.
Like it just does. Like you're gonna miss a deadline. You're gonna have a quarter that doesn't come in right, whatever. But if they know you got that side hustle, then they're like, hey, I wonder if Jeff's really dialed in here. You know, I know he's got that thing going on the side. Maybe he's too focused on it. Maybe we need to get rid of him and go somewhere else. So I kept it really quiet and just never really talked about it, and was so afraid. Here's something crazy. So afraid of people finding out that I had the side hustle that I took my name off a lot of stuff. Like it changed, even though I was wanting to promote my business. At first you start out using like your personal email address. Mm-hmm. And so they were kind of intermingled. So if you start searching the internet, like if you used my regular email, you could find my business. And so I went through the internet and I was trying to pull my regular last name email off of my business. It's just, I was trying to disconnect them so that people just couldn't make the connection, which is crazy to think about, right?
It is.
But it makes sense though too.
It does.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
So I was really trying to create such separation between the two that you just, if you search my name, thankfully my last name's really hard to spell, but if you even search my last name, like they wouldn't come up interchangeably. So yeah, it was not encouraged, and even to this day, you know, I got a corporate gig, and I don't talk about my photography there. Like nobody cares about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Doesn't need to be talked about, and you don't need to be mixed in there. So I'm just blessed to have the two sources of income and have the ability to keep them separate.
All right.
So,
the reason why I asked, going back to support system, I think one of the things that I learned, and I guess I can kind of tell people that changed my life, is I used to fear like asking questions, and support system doesn't necessarily have to be like your friends and family. I actually encourage it not to be.
Real talk. They can hold you to a different level of like.
And one of my
standard.
mentors, Tim, he told me something really. Like I guess it's a quote by him, but he was like, if your friends and family were really gonna help you get to that next level, they would have done it already. And that really, like, I was like, wow, because whenever you're starting a side business, most friends and family, if you're I mean, for some people they're lucky, and you know it's a little bit different. But most people will look down upon it. You know, like, no, go to college. You know, do this, do it the right way, and make your 100K, make your 200K, because not everyone can make $1 million, right? But the people that made $1 million were the ones that didn't listen to their friends and family. Mm-hmm. And so there's only a select few that will take that step and say, you know what, I'm gonna stop worrying about their opinions, and I'm just gonna do it. And one of the things that really changed my life was just being comfortable asking people better than me how to do it. You know, like with LinkedIn now, it's so easy. Man. You know, one of my mentors now, I wanted to start a wine brand. One of my close friends and mentors, Jim Striegel, he's a millionaire, billionaire. He has no business talking to a 23-year-old kid. I reached out to him on LinkedIn. And he replied, and we had lunch, and now he's a close friend of mine. You know, and a lot of the principles I'm using in my businesses now are coming from this guy. You know, I just feel like a lot of people fear. You know, they see someone, they're like, oh no, he won't talk to me. You know, he has no business. True. And you know, it's the craziest thing. Most of these millionaires will help you do it. Like they want you to do it.
Free game,
you know, free game for sure, for sure.
Crazy.
You know, when I was getting into artist management, the first person I reached out to was LaRandall, because he's already doing it, and he literally gave me a step-by-step plan and said, "Hey, this is exactly what you need to do to get it off the ground." And like I said, I mean, you just ask, you know, be curious at all times and ask questions, and your support system can be that itself, you know. I recommend people go on LinkedIn and find your support system there. Find people that are doing what you want to do at a high level, and go on one lunch a week or one coffee a week. That was my plan, and I still to this day do it. I go on one lunch or coffee a week of someone better than me, and all I do is pick their brains. I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
I don't sell my brand. I don't sell like literally nothing. I just go and I say, hey, my exact elevator pitch is, hey, I'm a 23-year-old kid. You went to college. I didn't. I dropped out. You know, what can you teach me that I can use in my business or life itself? And this is not a made-up stat. 100% of them, 100% of them.
It's over 90 though.
Have it's a real stat. If it's not 90, it's got to be real.
Have told me something. And what I tell people, even at like my corporate gig, is like, if you meet with somebody, even if you get one thing out of it, it's mission accomplished. Yeah. Right? Stop looking at this fairy tale ending. Like, get one thing out of it, be a sponge, and use that one thing that next week, and hopefully it becomes a habit. No. But that'd be my biggest recommendation. Don't think of support system as friends and family.
You are so right, because like we've got a guest coming up here in a few weeks that, dude, I'm super stoked about, and just through a random connection on LinkedIn that kind of connected all of us.
Yeah.
And this dude, I started talking to him and engaging with him, and I was like, hey man, like, and this dude is just involved in so many things, and
no business talking to us.
No business talking to us. Like, seriously. So got so many things going, and so big in the business world. And I just took a shot, and I was like, hey, I got this stupid little podcast. And dude, it would be so badass if you would come on the podcast. And I get it. And I was like, and I even told him, I was like, hey, we drink whiskey on the podcast, and then we cuss a little bit. and I know you have a brand. Like, this dude's like, big dude, right? You have a brand, and you have investors, and you have people that, you know, I don't know, you may not want to come on you may not want to come on just because I don't want to mess up your. He's like, no, bro, like, seriously, I want to get back. I want to get back, because I started something one time. And this is what it turned into. And you guys are right there with a podcast. You're starting a podcast. Who knows where it can, if I can give back, bro, I'm right there. Just tell me where to be, when to be. So he's coming on, and I'm like, and so exactly what you're talking about. So
most people will give back. Like, LaRandall gave back to me. You know, a lot of people, and that's the tough part that we've had a conversation about. Like, why is it that sometimes you'll ask people, and the jealousy and the envy gets into play. Yeah. And actually more times than not, these people are not successable.
Not like how they think.
Well, I think
and they won't tell you. They'll hide. They won't teach you what to do. But I don't know. I guess I'm just very lucky. Maybe, I don't know. I've had a lot of success with asking questions.
No, hold up. You just said something. You got to go. You got to back. Right. You got to go back.
You're right. I got to back up. Time out. I'm not lucky. I don't believe in luck. I don't think any of us believe in luck.
Preparation, opportunity.
You create your own luck.
Create your own luck.
Yeah, you create your own luck. So, but yeah, then again, I mean, creating that luck is asking that question.
Yep.
You know what's crazy about what you said, man? Like, not to
you created your own luck with
real talk,
with
man.
The first show,
and it's crazy because like what he said, those people that you ask, like, you'll start growing, and those people will end up asking you for favors. Yeah. I guarantee it. Yeah. And it's the craziest thing ever, literally. Yeah. Like, crazy.
Yeah.
So,
that's deep.
You literally just like get a text or a call, and you be like, what? So, yeah. That's wild.
Dude, I'm loving this. So, like, I'm looking at my screen here. Number 3 says support system. And when we started the podcast, like, support system has been redefined since like 45 minutes ago for me.
Yeah.
Because for me, support system is what I was thinking of, like, the people that I know.
Right.
That truly have been there and have been my support system. But But you're right. I mean, there are so many external connections that you don't give a lot of credit to that make things happen and are just there.
Really?
And because the connections we have through social media, the opportunities we have for those connections that really weren't there just a few short years ago. So
strangers have what you need.
Man, that's crazy you said that. Because honestly, bro, people that I have no idea, never met, they be the biggest supporters. It's people rooting in the corner, and I'm like, I don't know you from Adam, but they're like, I see what you're doing, you're gonna be successful. I'm
I
like,
know you from Adam.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me feel good though, because it's like,
it's the weirdest thing. I had, at my corporate gig, I had a client that I just met maybe a month ago, and all he did was he followed me on Instagram, he found me on Instagram, and he dropped by my office yesterday. And he was like, man, bro, I see you're doing your thing. And he has his own business as well. Just moved here from Oklahoma. Again, I don't know. I have no prior connection with this guy. And he literally was just like, I see you have your podcast going. That's, super cool. Tell me about it. And he sat there and listened to me for like a whole 30 minutes about what I'm doing with the podcast. And it's just crazy to me that friends and family won't even do that. I don't.
Your friends and family are sick of hearing about the podcast.
It's just the weirdest thing. I don't. But yeah, again, support system is huge. That's why I got so deep into it, because support system is the only reason I am where I am today.
Real talk.
Nothing. Honestly, if I had nothing else, but I had the support system, I'd figure it out. Well, that's kind of what happened. I had nothing else, and I had a support system.
It's like you're back against the wall,
and I figured it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just be a sponge.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for the other people that want to know more about certain things that you do or support you, and you don't know them, is because they see themselves within you. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things that relate to people, because even when I see kids, like, whether they're playing basketball, or it's been a lot of people that just come up to me and they want to start their own basketball organization. Where it's two things. Like, obviously, they'll be my competition because we're doing the same thing. So, but I do see myself in them because they're young and they want to start their own thing. Yeah. But at the same time, I can give you all the keys. You know what I'm saying? But and you can grow to be bigger than me. But it's not that I doubt them, because I hope they do well. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, you're gonna hit these walls, and we're gonna see if you're gonna do better. Yeah, make or break. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes you can give people wonder, oh, why would you give this person advice when they're gonna end up being competitive against you and stuff like that? It's like, well, they still got to put the work in. Like, you can give them everything, they still got to put the work in.
They got to take that first step.
Exactly, and that's the hardest thing. They got to take that
thing.
first step, and so that's one of the hardest things. So, and that's something I look at. Like, if anybody comes for me advice on, well, how do you do this, how do you do that? I tell them, and I don't have no shame in it. But
I feel like what you said though, that's like, people are afraid to give game because they're afraid to get passed.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
what's crazy? It's nothing new under the sun. So like, this is the only thing. People just innovate things.
Mm-hmm.
They figure out how to either do it faster, make it better, or make it stronger.
Right.
It's nothing new.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
shoot,
true.
cavemen were probably sitting around a fire doing the same thing we doing now.
Right.
It just look different.
Yeah.
Real talk.
No,
you know what I'm
that's for
saying?
real.
So it's just like,
We just have mics.
it just look different.
Mics
So,
and cameras.
I'm telling you, man, it's nothing new under the sun. I promise.
I
Like, think about it.
they- no,
that's real, though.
Harvest and get the
we
get
gotta
the
take a
seed,
cheers
you know
to
what
that
I'm
one.
saying?
That was a good point.
Caveman.
I guarantee you they didn't have peanut butter whiskey.
Nah, for sure.
They didn't have the peanut butter whiskey. That's great.
Nah, man, but for
So,
sure.
yeah, that's cool. So, I think 3 maybe kind of bleeds into 4 here. Infrastructure. So, what's support system infrastructure?
I feel like infrastructure, infrastructure kind of goes with budget and support. It kind of all ties, like, both those two kind of tie into 3. Because when I say infrastructure, I mean, like, you have to be on your P's and Q's, because it's always going to be problems within business, within life, really. You know what I'm saying? So definitely plan for the worst at all times, because shit going to get bad. It's inevitable.
2020.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's always going to get bad. And so you always have to plan, at least plan to the best of your abilities. So when it does get bad, you'll be ready for something, Yeah. You might not fix or solve the whole problem, but you'll be ready for it. So that infrastructure is just so important. A lot of people downplay, like, everything that they need to, a lot of times, because I know when we started our business, accountant, entertainment lawyer, a business credit card to book flights, We wasn't thinking about none of that.
Yeah.
We just like, man, we gonna just kind of do it on the fly,
Right.
and it sounds good. And then you hit these roadblocks, and you're like, oh, like it gets real ugly. You know what I'm saying?
Extra 2,000.
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, it's only, so far you can dip into your own pockets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You really have to separate that. And another thing too, I need to say that I forgot, man, it is so important to make a business account.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, when I say it's so important, man, like, look, if you don't do anything else, make a business account. At least, like, if it doesn't work out, you can just have somewhere to put some savings at or something. But definitely make a business account and keep up with those transactions. Because, like, man, like, when I was doing this, like, 2018, 2019, I was seeing, like, a little money. And like you said, it was going into, like, my account. And so I'm like, I got funds,
I got
it looks
bread.
good.
I got bread.
And then like something comes up, like it's an oh shit moment for the business, and then you look at your phone, he's like, $50. You know what I'm saying? I can't solve a problem like that.
Right.
So it's definitely important. That's an infrastructural thing. Make sure you have everything you need going forward. Even if it's things that you don't need, I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. Mm-hmm. Like the entertainment lawyer, I never thought the day would come when I was talking to like Columbia or something on the phone, but like I'd never want to go into a situation like that thinking I can look at Rocket Lawyer and, kind of finesse my way through it. It don't feel good. You know what I'm saying? So like investing in an entertainment lawyer, that was like a big stepping stone for us as a company. It's expensive as hell, but I mean, we need it. You know what I'm saying? So those infrastructural things, those small things, definitely.
So how do you decide what you should, okay, like you say you figured out you needed a lawyer.
Right.
But some things you would tell somebody, hey, you don't need this.
Right.
But definitely go get this. Like when you first start off, you may not say go get an LLC.
Yeah.
Right. But how do you decide
I'll give you an example, right? Shaw came to me and asked me about, his artist.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, man, I think I should get an LLC. And I was like, save your money.
Okay.
Off top.
Why?
Because it's like you gotta crawl before you can walk. You know what I'm saying? It's too many uncertainties. Like you don't know how big you can get. It's one thing to get big overnight, and then it's like, hey, at least if you get big overnight, you either have some money, or it'll be somebody noticing, so you can go grab what you need real fast. When you have money, anything's accessible. I don't care what anybody says. That's just the truth. So if you're gonna grow, then just like, and you're gonna grow really, really fast, like I said, then it's easy to go get that help. But like I said, I told Shaw, like, hey, you don't need an LLC right now. You know what I'm saying? It's you don't have any numbers, you don't have no music out, like nothing. So I said, but hey, get an assumed name. So his name is his name. You know what I'm saying? That makes more sense. So nobody can use that without, him being compensated. Like you can move a little bit.
Right.
Maybe not as much as an LLC, you know what I'm saying? But you can still do what you need to do for that margin of growth where you're trying to get.
So you're saying if you're crawling, you don't necessarily need all the glitz and the glamour. You don't need all until you start hitting, when you hit the ground running.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
But it also depends on the person.
Yeah, it does.
So
it does.
If you're the type of person that, I mean, I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I've hit a lot of adversity in my life. So when adversity comes, like it's just not. You just cherish it.
Right.
There are a lot of people, are going to be the opposite. So I don't know. And my advice would be and be self-aware, be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody else this, but if you're the type of person that when adversity comes, you're going to, fold, whatever it may be. Personally, I say go big, get the LLC. That way you put your money in. You have all your money in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
perspective.
And like I tell people, when you get a gym membership, because you're paying for the gym membership, you're going to use that membership.
Right.
You're going to use it.
Right.
So be self-aware.
That's big.
LaRandall's advice, he did it that was for me. Right. But yeah, if you're the type of person that you have to put your money somewhere, and if you don't put your money there, you're just going to dip your toes in there.
Right.
Then obviously don't do that, because then you're just wasting your time. Buy the LLC, go put your money in there and invest in yourself and invest in your brand, and you're more likely to put in the work. Because you know what I love about this whole topic is everything we're saying about building your own business. If you have a corporate gig, they all did this.
Yeah, they had to start somewhere.
Just think about that. You know, like it. We're all talking about, oh, it's a side hustle, this and that. All these big businesses you guys work for, they had a business plan at one point.
Right.
You know, they had a support system. They had to budget. They had to put it in QuickBooks and say, okay, this is what I'm, this is all.
Do you got a deal with QuickBooks I don't know about? Are you getting paid per quarter?
I had an accounting internship. I know how to use QuickBooks. That's the one math thing I do know.
What's you holding out on me here?
But yeah, I mean, that's another good way of looking at it. Like the company you work for right now, they did all this, you know? So.
Yeah. So, hey, the coolest shit that can happen is that you need a professional service that you had no idea you needed.
Yeah.
When I started in photography, I would have bet you $100 that I would never need an attorney for anything. And then one day I needed an attorney because I had a client who was a famous client. I'm not going to go deep into this. Yeah, I could spend a whole episode. It's a badass story, but my client got married, had a contract with Atlantic Records. And People Magazine, Us Magazine, wanted pictures of the wedding, and it was crazy. And so I was ready to.
You gave it up.
I was ready to sell.
Get that bag.
I retained copyright.
Cash out real quick.
Right. I was ready to sell for an exclusive to one of those magazines, but I didn't know exactly how all of it worked. But to Shaw's point, reached out to some big time people on social media who were like, yo, here's what you do. We deal with these magazines all the time. And I was like so out of my element. And then Atlantic Records came back and said, if you publish those, we're going to sue you because you don't have the rights. And so I was like, wait, no, I do. I have a contract. I own the copyright to these. But they had me freaked out because they're Atlantic Records.
Right. Oh,
and so the connection that I got to this one lawyer, amazing lawyer, I showed him my contract, everything, all this. He's like, yep, you own copyright. You can do it. But they can also tie you up in so much paperwork, and it would cost you this much.
That's the one thing I hate.
For me to get you out of it, that you better get this much from People Magazine. And I'm like, well, shit, that's nowhere close to what they were offering me. So who wins? Nobody.
Man.
Nobody wins.
Isn't that the most intimidating thing? You got an email from him. You saw like Atlantic Records. He's like, oh.
But
yeah. And so you know what? The artist, you know what happened? Artist got married. Could have legit been front page on magazines. Just came off of American Idol. Blah, blah, blah. Get nothing. No pictures anywhere. Because I'm the only one that has them. They won't.
Crazy. That's
I have the copyright. They want the revenue from it. Stalemate. Screw you guys. So,
if anything, you won because business goes on.
Yeah, true.
I didn't lose anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I still got my fee and
that's a win
for the event. So
that's a win. They got nothing.
Yeah,
that's scary.
I would have kept all the wedding photography.
Yeah, I could have got a lot more. We need to dedicate like a whole episode to that story because it includes so many crazy like names. Like the lawyer's brother was running for president at the time. Like crazy connections that come out of nowhere within 48 hours. Point being is like what you said. Like, do you go big or like do you save the money? Like save the money up front. If you need a lawyer all of a sudden because something big blows up, trust me, those people will come out. Those people come out of the woodworks quick. Like, oh, I heard you need a lawyer. They're like, they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and build personal relationships. I feel like that's a very underrated aspect of not only business but life itself. Like, you know, if you build like and by that I mean don't just BS it. Like really become. You know, it's just like mainstream now to have a small circle. You know, my day ones, this and that. Cut that out. That's back then. Like, get as many connections as you can, get as many friends as you can, because at the end of the day, if you need a lawyer and you have built a personal connection with a lawyer, like you're not paying as much out of pocket. I promise you that because I've been in these situations. Like it might be free. It might be at a discount, like, and I'm not talking just lawyers, like anything that you do, if you build a personal relationship with different people, you'd be surprised. Like one day you're going to need them, like if you did a free photo shoot for somebody, that 10 years later, fast forward, that lawyer might reach out, you might reach out to that lawyer and he'll remember that nice deed that you did for them.
Always full circle.
Always.
That's another thing too,
tables
man.
always turn.
Take care of people you do business with, man.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, man, like, let's say, you go eat somewhere and they, like, really take care of you, man. Like, and you talk to a specific person, like, along the line, like, take care of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just write them, like, a handwritten letter or something and give it to them, get them, like, an edible arrangement or something for the holidays, like, something minor. Like, take care of them.
That goes a long way.
It does. They'll always look out, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, be I think, personable. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely gotta be careful, too, though, because, like, some people use that, right? Like, they'll make you think they're doing you a favor, but in the long run, they got something already planned up. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be... careful.
You gotta see that from a mile away.
You do.
Yeah, there's people out there. Yeah, there's people out there that would make you think that would do you a favor.
He got both.
No, at the end of the day,
they got both of us.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Man.
Yeah, you do got to be careful with favors.
But you know what, man? Karma, man.
Charge it to the game.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's part of life. You take your L's, you just cherish it. And you know what? Fast forward 5 years, I'll never do that again.
It's a lesson learned, bro.
And at the end of the day, if you take a L, you learn something. It's not a loss. You learn something. So
lessons.
Yeah, for sure. So going on to number 5, just intel. Know who your customer is.
Man.
I think a lot of people don't do enough research on who their true customer is. So, you're gonna do what? And who are you gonna do it for?
Be specific. If you're starting a nonprofit, not just homeless people, homeless women, or homeless people with pets.
Yeah, real talk. I did that as a shit show, bro. I've learned.
Yeah, you have to be specific. Trap rappers, singers, church singer, Christians. Like there's so many ways to. Demographic is it's such a base level. Like for example, you're not just a photographer. You're a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
You chose a demographic within a certain space,
and that took me a long time actually to figure out who my demographic was, believe it or not. You would think like I'm gonna shoot weddings. Like my demographic is people who are getting married. No, it's not. Your demographic is the female who is 18 to 37 and lives within a 50-mile radius of your working zip code and is engaged and...
So many little things.
What's crazy?
And, with the tools we have nowadays, you can get all of that information.
Yeah.
Because
Amazon?
people freely... People freely put that out there.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is go on, pick your website, whichever one you want to use to market, and you can plug all those levers in there. And it's crazy. One of the advertisers that I use, you literally do. You plug in the stats, you click the buttons, and it starts out. It's funny to look at it because I put in like my zip code, and then I put in a radius. That's like the very first thing you do. And it tells you, just based off your radius and your zip code, that you have 5 million potential customers. And then you drop it down to female.
Wait, what is this?
They don't have a sponsorship yet. So I'm not gonna appreciate
Tell me after the show.
DM Jeff.
Yeah. So, and then once you hit, we'll talk after the show. Okay. So you say, female, female, that cuts the number to 2.5 million. Then you say engaged, that cuts it down big time, right? Then you put the age in there, and pretty soon you have a demographic that, hey, we can target about 100,000 people in your market, and you can spend that money in a very specific way to a very specific audience and not waste the advertising money that you have. So knowing your customer, not just like, oh yeah, my customers, people who are getting married. Dudes don't care. The guys are not the ones out there looking for the wedding photographer, trust me.
Yeah.
Could be their moms, but it's likely the bride. So, and pick your business. It's going to be that way for every business. You can, what's your demographic, CJ?
I mean, mine are just. I really don't. I actually don't have one, to be honest with you. I think my thing when it comes to clients is for me for what I do is realizing what parents are cancerous to your team, because that was one thing when I first started. Not to bring up a whole big topic, but when I first started, like, my first team was great. Didn't have any issues with parents, rumors, none of that stuff. No crazy drama going on. So I was like, yo, this is gonna be like easy, right? And then second team came around, and I wasn't willing to let this parent just go because they were spending so much money. And my pops was like, yo, like, you're going to run into this, but it's best that you let them go in the long run because they're going to cost you even more money than what they're giving you. I wasn't trying to hear that because I was making so much money at the time. I was like, man, I'm just going to keep them. Sure enough, like 2 months later, that whole team is gone because of that one parent. So I don't have a demographic, but I will say for someone that's doing like the coaching thing, like if you have a parent that's cancerous to your team or your organization, although they're giving you money or they may be, paying for other kids, whatever the case may be, like, you got to let those parents go because that's going to damage your whole organization. So I don't necessarily have a demographic.
You have a demographic that you want to stay away from. Cancerous parents.
LeVar Ball.
Yeah, for sure.
But even at the end of the day, I mean, if you really dig into it, it's is there an age group of kids that you coach? What's the age group?
I mean, it's pretty much from kindergarten. I've had kindergarten all the way to 17-year-olds. So it's kind of all over. It's really kids in general.
So parents
who have
inside of your service area, inside of your zip code, that have school age kids. Like, you'd be surprised.
Okay, yeah,
you'd be surprised how quickly you can dial in and how savvy a lot of these websites and a lot of these companies are, and how much information they have. Information is the most powerful thing we have right now. And as much as some of us are super freaked out by that, we don't want those Alexas sitting in our house because they're listening to everything they say. I don't care what they hear in my house. They're not hearing anything exciting. If you want to listen to all the conversation in my house, you're going to be bored as hell.
Yeah, stop looking at the negatives.
Yeah. But those companies that are gathering all that data for people like us, entrepreneurs, that information is powerful because I can, like no other time in history, just zone in on a very specific customer that I want to target and just get my ad in front of them repeatedly.
Have you seen the Netflix series? I don't know if it's a series, Social Dilemma.
Crazy.
Have you seen it, Joe?
I have seen. I haven't watched it, but
Okay.
so many times I've wanted to get started on it.
I was already kind of like
I deleted my Twitter,
but I just got back on. More,
that made me delete my Twitter.
They said for the first time ever, like, people are now the product that's being sold.
Like,
what the,
for sure.
Bro.
But see, that's the thing.
Bro, we are, bro. I'm trying to.
It's biased.
Is that a bad thing?
Thank you.
Like, when I pull up my Instagram feed, I'm seeing stuff I want to see now.
Hey.
Like, yeah, you could, if you're seeing stuff that you don't want to see, then I don't know. I don't even know how that's happening, because you can even click on one of those ads and say that's irrelevant to me, and you can teach it how to show you the things you want. Because, like, I see ball cap advertisements all the time on my Instagram feed. Am I pissed? No, I'm like clicking on them. Like, I want to see what kind of ball caps you guys have. I want to see what kind of t-shirts you got.
And, like, I mean, it's just that's how humans are. We're so negative, you know. We let the bias, like, that whole documentary was biased to make people stop using social media, because all those people quit those companies. That's what people don't realize. The reason they're on there is because they quit those companies, and now they're trying to get everybody to stop going
I
to those
will
companies.
admit, it's weird as shit when I'm, like, my wife and I are just talking about something and it shows up on my Instagram feed, and I'm like, wait a second. I didn't enter that in any search engine. I didn't plug that into my phone. That's a little weird.
You know what's crazy, though?
But what's the price of convenience? Like, yeah, it's convenient, but it's like...
Just use it to your... My advice would be use it to your advantage. It's the easiest time to market and advertise. It's the easiest time to start a business. It's the easiest time to connect with strangers And like I said, by connect, I don't mean just message them and leave it at that. Like message them and get it in person.
Yeah, with purpose.
Yeah, and then build a rapport with them. Become their friend.
Yeah.
Offer them. It's like I was listening to a podcast, and this lady, she was a photographer, making 6 figures. And one of the things she said was when she was first starting out, she offered, so she would message photographers that were making 6 figures, and she would offer to pay them for her to shadow them.
Mm-hmm.
And that just speaks volume to me. Like, she was gonna pay them to be an intern. It wasn't an unpaid internship either. I don't believe in unpaid internships. That's just whack to me. But it's worse. Like, she was paying them. She's like, I will pay you. Just let me shadow you. That's how much she was investing in herself to learn. Yeah. So when I say invest in yourself, I don't mean, go start an LLC, right? There's other ways to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to be a photographer, message Jeff and tell him you'll pay him $50 an hour to come shadow him.
Come on.
Man, I'll tell you what, though. You want to hear some crazy stuff, like with that social media? It's starting to become connected to, like, your neurological system. And you know what's crazy?
Oh, yeah.
I know how to do it, and I've seen it done.
Oh, shit.
I'll tell you what.
Podcast about to go a little long.
When you learn how to do it, and I hate to say this word, but when you can manipulate the consumer to engage, it's evil. Like, it's a weapon. Social media is like, man.
They
like,
got
look, I'm telling you, look.
I'm a little scared where we just
Marco,
went.
That's what I'm saying.
My
though.
artist I work with, Marcos Davila, on Facebook, I can literally control when people click on his ads. And when they don't, I'll make them click on it. It's just that good. It's crazy.
That's how it probably popped up on my Instagram joint. Because that's what's funny. Because I was like, yo, I know this dude.
Bruh.
And I was like, why does he keep popping up?
Dude.
Before I knew him.
And I had to follow him at that point.
I knew
crazy.
him, but before I knew LaRandall was working with him, he popped up on my Facebook too. I watched it for no reason.
And you were like, what?
He popped up on my
Now
IG.
I know. Now it was LaRandall. I was like,
it's crazy, bro. Look.
But
that's
crazy. That's the beauty. I mean, let's just.
It's good. It's good for the business.
It is.
It's good for the business.
It is.
And if with capitalism, like, that's good for business. But I don't know.
But you can use it as service as well. There's a lot of psychologists.
Business.
I like CJ's thought here. It's good for the business, and I like that bit of skepticism that you throw in there. That is it good for the consumer? Is it good for the general population? That
it's scary.
That so much information is out there, and that we so unknowingly as consumers many times give out so much more information than we realize we're giving out. We don't realize that this device is just continuously feeding data. Where are you? What are you doing when you're there? How long are you there for? And like when you look at Google and you look at how busy is this business? So if you're going to the gym and you want to see how busy, like what are the busy times at the gym?
How do they know that?
It's not the gym telling you
check-ins.
It's not the gym telling you how many check-ins they got. It's the phone saying how many phones are in this particular location and how long do they spend there.
It runs off the geotags though. Like, people, every time you go somewhere, people think it's so cool to tag where they're at so people can know. And I'm guilty because I just did it today at the coffee shop, a dummy. But
I like that place, by the way.
Yeah, it's smooth.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, by the way. No sponsors, so I ain't gonna say that. But man, yeah, it's crazy. Like literally when people check in, like if it's the little tag, even like if you have a phone, turn your location off.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna share it, only share it with people that you absolutely have to share it with. Because that alone, all the data, they just pitch it back and forth. Like it goes from one company to the next, and it just circles. So it's wild, but crazy stuff.
We're getting a little conspiracy theory. That's
fact.
Yeah.
I said the same thing.
So, but I mean, as an entrepreneur, those are the tools that are out there, right?
Right.
Yeah, use it.
Yeah, I'm about to start using that.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Yeah,
afterwards.
we will talk because
we're gonna see CJ in a Bentley. Fuck happened?
Hey, these parents. All these parents in Frisco, boy.
But no, LaRandall, one of the things we do at the end of each podcast is we kind of give our viewers a perspective into each of our heads.
Okay.
And obviously the name of the podcast is the Sweet Spot Podcast. So we kind of go around the table and say, out of this podcast, what was a sweet spot that you found that you can kind of obviously take into your life or have, listeners and audience take into their life. So we can start it off with you.
Man, okay.
So the way we do it for our guests is if you're what's your sweet spot for your business? Where would you say is like your holy grail, like where you want to take it, and then you'll be like satisfied.
Okay.
I hate to use the word satisfied, but
yeah, the sweet spot, man, for my business, it's easy, and I've seen it done. Like especially people that have like management company and stuff, like they'll sell out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like right when they get to that point, some big major, will just reach out to them like, hey, you got something great, like we're selling it. But my sweet spot is like our sustainability and like how resourceful that we've become. You know what I'm saying? Like literally we've ran into so many problems, like big and small, but we're always resourceful and we're able to like outsource our problems within our group. You know what I'm saying? Like our immediate like network.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because you'd be surprised, man. If you know one person, that person knows 7 people.
Yeah.
And out of those 7 people, one of those people will either be paying attention to what you're doing or willing to help you.
Yep.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like we've never had to outsource like majorly. You know what I'm saying? Like we've always been able to keep it in a small, close-knit circle and make it work. And that's like the sweet spot. And I think that'll honestly elevate our growth at the end of the day because like obviously we are growing. And even when we grow, it will still be like so close knit. It'll always stay like independent, like within the business, So that's our sweet spot.
Relationship building.
Yeah, that network is crazy.
I never thought about it that way. So you're staying independent by using other people's resources pretty much, but they're in. Okay,
it's all within network. Like our network, it has never got outside of like the core people
that
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even if it has got outside the core people, it's still
because
like a core
somebody
person.
that you know. Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's cool. I like that.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's definitely our sweet spot.
Now, as far as the podcast goes, what was your sweet spot that you kind of took away from the principles we spoke about or whatever it may be?
Man, definitely perspective, man.
Yeah.
Like we really elaborate on that support system. I feel like it has like a lot of branches to it,
Right.
It's a tree, but it definitely has a lot of branches. How we just elaborate on that and talked about it. Because like you said, a lot of people do think about it as like, family and friends, but it really goes a lot deeper than that.
Right.
I think that's really dope. And that's helpful, man. Because a lot of people, I feel like, listeners and just people in general, like, they kind of are lost with that aspect of, starting their own business. And I think that's actually really big.
It was cool. I had this guy that reached out to me via DM about 2.5 weeks ago after a podcast we did. And honestly, I don't remember him. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know who he is. But apparently we went to high school together, and he DM'd me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm trying to start a podcast, or I'm wanting to start a podcast. And, I just needed some advice. I love what you're doing." And the funny thing is, I replied to him and I was like, I appreciate the kind words, this and that. And I was like, what questions can I answer? And he never replied. And that itself is probably my sweet spot right there, is just, he probably feared that second question because he was like, he didn't take that first step.
Yeah.
The first step was asking that question and doing it. And that's kind of what we said. Like, I'm okay with giving people information because it just sucks to say, and I don't mean to be negative about it, but they're not going to do it.
Right.
They're just not going to use the information. And that's what I kind of like challenge people to do, is everything you learn on this podcast, like put it into action. Step 1 is put it on paper. I'm going to start a jewelry business. I don't know, okay. My demographic is going to be this, I have this much to invest in it right now. My money's kind of tight. okay, maybe I can set up a business account, get some credit. You know what? Let me reach out to this person on LinkedIn that already has a jewelry business. Let me see what they did when they were broke. You know, oh, did they work a second job and invest all that into the business? Okay, maybe that's what I can do.
Everything that you're saying, I hate to cut you off and all that stuff, but like everything that you're saying is you're finding a way. If you really want to do it, you're gonna find a way to make something out of nothing, and that's what I'm.
And you know me personally, so you know the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm literally doing it as we speak.
Right.
I'm literally taking that first step, and I'm pushing a couple people around me to do it too, and it's just something I've been. You know, there's a couple different businesses that I've been talking about this and that, and I never do it. And finally, I was like, you know what? All we have to do is do it. Yeah. That's all you have to do. Just do it.
Man.
You know? And that's the sweet spot, man. Just take the first step. Yeah. And I challenge you to do that. And whoever, if you're listening to this podcast, if you message me, ask me that second question. Because I will give you all the resources you need. Yeah. I truly will. I mean.
You know what's crazy about what you said, man? I feel like you become extremely resilient with that step, too. Because that step is just like, you literally just off a cliff and you free falling. So you're either going to hit the ground or you're going to figure something out. You don't want to die.
And you might hit the ground.
You might.
But
get back up.
Yeah, climb that mountain, you know?
I like that. I guess, Jeff, you want to go? Are we going this way or which way are we going?
I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go. So, you know, it's funny how I think I kind of already said it, so this might be a bit redundant, but God, point number 3 just really surprised me inside of the podcast today was support system. Because if you asked me to write down what my support system was at the beginning of the podcast, there'd be some names on there. If you asked me to write it down now, it'd be a completely different list, because I really had not thought that deeply and that many levels down as to who really has supported me in this. And to your point, like, it's been people that they're kind of inside my network, but you know, it doesn't really get that far outside of that. Right. But then it's also people that didn't know me at all at the time and had no vested interest in helping me whatsoever. It didn't benefit them to help me. And all I had to do was reach out and ask. And they helped. And they helped because they were me at that point. They went back to in their career and they were like, dude, I remember being in that spot. And God, if I had someone like me I would have been so appreciative. I'm going to help this dude out. And they don't expect anything. They don't expect anything. And so we live in such a cool time where so much is at our fingertips that we don't even realize, that we don't take advantage of, because we're scared. We're scared to ask. We're scared of rejection. We're scared of what that person is going to say. We're scared that person might tell us the truth.
Their truth.
Yeah.
And it won't be what we want to hear, maybe.
Shout out to CJ.
But yeah, support system, man. It's my sweet spot is that support system is bigger than you think it is. It's bigger than you realize.
Yeah, it's never ending. It's strangers.
But I'm telling you,
it's never ending.
It's a tree and it has so many branches, man.
Yeah,
like
it just, man, that message you said just kind of makes me want to tear up, because like
it's real.
It's so real. Like you said. We really have tissues.
That's okay.
I didn't realize that.
But like, you tweeted something yesterday that I replied to. Do you remember what it was?
Bruh, I do, because I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I've been getting love, man.
I'm gonna
it was real.
I'm gonna change the wording to it, but you can say what you put. But like, Jeff, your message is just it's touching, because one question can really change your life.
Oh yeah,
I truly believe that. One question that you were fearing to ask can really change your life.
Yeah, this was the direct tweet, man. I said, you're always just one decision away from a totally different life.
That one decision could be a question.
Yeah.
It really could. And it's just, man, I hope someone gets, even if it's one person, I hope you get that message and ask that question.
Shoot, mine would be another branch off the support system thing. That definitely really hit home for me. I think back, y'all know I'm a big hip hop fan, so I think back on what Jay-Z. I actually know the exact song. It's off the Black album called "Dirt Off Your Shoulders." And I didn't even know he was really speaking like this, but he said, I know you glued your back to the wall. You got to brawl, do that. And so with that, it's just like, like I talked about the adversity aspect of everything. It's like sometimes your support system, and I give respect to my pops because he was the only person. I'm not gonna say he's never supported me, but he's the only one I could say that really believed in like shit that I was doing.
Man.
And so he ain't never had to like put money in my pocket to make the business grow or anything of that aspect. But I know by the way he talks, like and just looking, in his eyes when I talk to him, like he really believes in me. And nobody else, I could tell when they talk, like never really did. So just looking back on that, when you think of people that you got to lean on, sometimes it's not people that you got to lean on. Sometimes you got to put yourself in that mindset. If like, look, I can't go back. All I got is this wall here. I'm going to fight through it, and I'm going to get through this brawl. I'm going to fight. I'm going to stay 10 toes down and get what I need to get done. And so I think that was my biggest thing when we looked at support system. I just looked back on my life and things that I had to do for my organization to stay afloat and to prosper and all that stuff. And that was one of the things for me, was just to lean on that wall. So that was mine.
You good, guys?
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank y'all, man, for having me on the show. That means
Appreciate
a lot, man.
you.
Shoot.
Yeah, this has been cool. I feel like we hit a really solid stride there halfway through, and it's so cool because I think we do this for the listeners, right? And no, we don't. I'm legit. I do this for me. I do this for the guys at the table. Yeah. Because I get so much from these episodes. And
I just learned so much from this one podcast.
Badass. So. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We hope you're able to take away some meaningful content that allows you to find your sweet spot. If you liked what you heard today, please make sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Or if you're listening on our other platforms such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please support us by hitting that follow button. If you want to interact with us on social media, you can follow us on Instagram at thesweetspot.podcast. That's at thesweetspot.podcast. Take care, and we will see y'all next week. Good job, everybody.
I feel like I'm at theory right now.
I ain't got no more.
Exactly.